All right, my name's David Hinojosa, Station 69. I'm assigned to the engine currently. I'm here today with Senior Captain Hawthorn on Tower 18. This is our my number two video, the Q&A on seasoned vets, trying to find out what they know and spread the knowledge before they exit HFD and take everything they've done and learned and not share it with us. So here's our first question. Captain Hawthorn, you tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the fire service? What ranks you held?
All right. I'm on my 27th year this year at HFD. Come up through the ranks. Rookied at 18 is where I'm at now. That's home for me. Come up in 90. Come up and had a good captain. It was a strong leader and kind of got me mentored and good firefighter. From there, promoted, went and drove ambulance 23 for 3.5 years. From there, got engine 4 on the north side. Drove engine 4 for probably about a year. Got promoted from there. Captain, went to 55s, engine 55 for 3 years. And from there, went to 20s as a captain. Studied at 20s and made senior. Stayed at 20s for about 8 months to a year until I got back to 18s when the hole come open. I've been there. Plan on leaving there in about another 9.
Oh, 9 months, 9 years.
9 years.
9
I got a little
years,
ways to
okay.
go.
That's a long ways to go. What was your drive to make you want to join the fire department?
We lived at the address of 7173 Moline. It's a block behind 26s. My dad was retired as a senior captain, 42 years from HFD. And I'll never forget, I was about 8 years old. Went up to the fire station, stopping by, whatever. About that time, house fire drops. Dad says, "Come on." He threw me in between him and the captain. He was driving ladder 26. Threw me in between the captain. We pulled up on a house, smoking real good. And they pulled up, when firemen went and did their job. And from there, it was I was done. That was it.
That was it. How old were you when you got in the fire service?
I was just turned 21. Yeah, 21.
You're lucky. So, who was your mentor, whether they knew it or not?
Well, I had a couple over the years. My dad for sure. He was my role model mentor. And then as I got in the fire service, I had some good captains along the way. But one, I hate to say this out loud, and especially on a camera, but John Zapata, he is the sidekick now. It's a running joke, but he wrote sidekick. But anyway, John Zapata, learned a lot from him. We kind of he worked at 25s, I was at 18s, just back and forth over the years. A lot of other good captains along the way. Captain Sidney Lacombe, guys that were true firemen, but good on the fire ground and good at the firehouse too. They were well-rounded, just good guys.
Okay. By what means were firefighters and officers considered to be successful failures back then when you came in?
Well, the ones that I guess knew their job, you knew that when you're riding on the rig with them, that they're gonna make the right choice, or they always seem to make the right choice. And then just kind of how they held themselves. If everybody respected them, or it's kind of I want to be known as a good fireman, but then again I don't want to be I want to be known as man that people look up to, or somebody that's well respected by their peers.
So what were we considered a failure at those times?
Failure at those times, I don't know. I guess if I let my crew down in any way, shape, or form, whether it be, my integrity, let them down somehow, or by calls on the fire ground. If I made some bad decisions. And what I've learned over the years too is if you're going to make mistakes in this job, own up your mistakes and tell you in. I mean, if you make a mistake, I'll never forget. I had somebody shut off an inch and 3/4 one time when guys that were inside, or I told them to charge ours. We were still on tank water. Well, it run them low on tank water. Well, man, they were in there, and we was right not 10, 15 foot behind them, but it made a difference when they come bailing out to us. And it was a bad call on my part. We should have waited a little bit. And anyway, but coming outside, and after it was all said and done, we talked about it and apologized. But that gains respect from your man. You can say, hey, look, we all can make mistakes, but if you're man enough to fess up and not just act like it didn't happen,
Yeah.
or act like it was that's huge in my eyes. Somebody can
Own up to their mistakes and learn from them.
absolutely.
What does it take to be a good leader in today's fire department?
Well, take somebody that's going to be, I think, be a good firefighter, good leader. Is you know, I want to lead by example, right? I want everybody to look up and, you know, hopefully I'll make the right call on everything. But for one, is always never stop learning, right? If I want to be a good leader, I can't stop learning, because right now in our territory, everything they're building from our station towards downtown is changing. I can't go in that 3-story condo loft like I did that shotgun shack, and I gotta learn the techniques and the tactics and what to look for, what not to look for. I know it's gonna fail sooner, so, you know, always stay on top of my game by going to classes or doing stuff like this, watching other people. You can't go to no department that's too small and learn from them. Whether I go to Manville Volunteer Fire Department, somebody there's got something I can learn from, and you just need to do that, and then just be a you know, person of your word, right? You know, if you know, just be honest with you guys, and which to me is what a good leader is.
Okay. What is the biggest change that you've witnessed since joining the fire service?
Over the years, you see things change slowly over the years, but I think here recently we're kind of it's a different mindset here lately. In the department in the last 5 years.
Mindset, like what aspect?
Well, from the new resetting of the fire, you know, everybody's, oh, you know, you're not no fireman, you're not going inside, and it's a good tool, but I think it as a fire department as a whole, you know, we learn, you study, you do things. It's tools in the toolbox, and with that tool in the toolbox, I can't say that every fire I'm going to reset. I can't say every fire I'm going to I'm not going to reset. I can't say every fire I'm going to I'm going to cut a hole. I said we do the ventilation different ways, we do attack different ways. They're all tools in the toolbox. Every fire, you know, do a good 360, get a good look at it, and make a sound decision on that, not just, oh, I always cut holes, or I always use a fan, or I'm always going to reset. And I see nowadays that they're, with the mentality is they're kind of pushing one way or the other. I think they're tools, and we need to use them as tools, and not just say, every fire I'm going to do this.
Yeah, not make it the go-to option every time.
Absolutely, right. And then, because some are going to go good, some are going to go bad. Let's learn from those mistakes. If it didn't go bad, why did it go, or if it went bad, why did it go bad? And learn from it and change that tactic for the next one we make like that.
Okay. Is there anything you would have done different, knowing what you know now in your career?
Yeah, I wouldn't have got busted several times. No, there's a lot of ways I know now. You know, after done these years, there's a lot of ways I know not to do something because you messed up in the past, right? So you know, I just try to, you know, learn from my mistakes. Is there anything big that I can't really put my finger on?
Did you promote it sooner or later?
Well, I missed the first EOS test. I'm glad I did now, because I learned so much more that next 2 years as a firefighter where I was at, with the captain I had. But sooner or later than the other test, I just, you know, I took them as they come up. Felt by staying at pretty busy houses, you know, it helped me get that. I can't imagine now. I see a lot of guys that come in nowadays, you know, get promote pretty quick, going to slow houses where you're not making a call volume, where you're not getting experience.
Yeah.
And that would have, you know, and that's where I drew that's where you draw a lot of your base knowledge from, is through making them. So,
You think you'll take the chief's test?
no.
Changed in 9 years.
What are the 2 best jobs in the city of Houston?
Truck chauffeur and truck captain.
Absolutely. All right.
So where do you see the fire department going in the next 10 years?
10 years, it's like I said, I think we're at a crossroads right now. It just depends on how and I say the department, I think the fire services, you know, with technology and all, I agree, I get it. It's a tool, right? And I don't want to just go put blinders on, and sometimes I feel that that's the way we're kind of got blinders on right now, instead of looking at the whole picture, getting that knowledge, getting other knowledge, things we've done for 50 years, getting the knowledge from the new NIST studies and all. Let's put them all together, marry them up, and look at a good, solid, the safest tactic to do it, and use it. And then when it deems we need to veer from it, okay, so be it.
Do you feel you reached your full potential in your time?
Oh, man. No, you can never reach your full potential in this job. I think I learned every fire. We can make the same floor plan, same layout, same kitchen fire, and I'm gonna do something different the next time. And I say, man, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you ever quit learning this job. Reaching full potential, no, not close.
If you were granted the ability to make one change in the department as a parting gift, what would it be?
Oof.
At your retirement, you know, you get
Right.
one pass,
One
change
pass.
one thing in the fire department. Whatever you like.
Hmm.
Personally, I do debit days. So I just,
I kind of like them days. I mean, I don't like to go working when you should be off, but you get to see a different part of the city you don't see in other parts. And anyway, you can learn something new that way too. But oh man, I don't know. Let me come back to that.
all right. If you could provide some of the younger generation of officers with a few words of wisdom, what would they be?
Well, you know, we over the years I've learned from many officers, right? You got some good things some officers do, some things you don't care for, right? I try to pattern myself. I want to be an officer that's always trying to be on the front edge or trying to learn a new way or learn stuff, because this game is ever changing. And another thing is, you know, a lot of our, you know, what we train for is firefight, but we do that very little compared to what you do around the station, around, you know, the station and everything else. So I think it takes a good officer to me is somebody that's going to lead by example, but you know, have a good crew at the station where he can motivate, get guys to do stuff, train, clean, you know, do all this kind of stuff, and then on the fire ground too, be a leader too. But I guess get it off to you know, just be a well-rounded officer is what I try to do. You know, where I'm training, we train where my guys are solid, and then again around the station they know they can come to me with any problem issue, and be fair. I mean, you want to be fair. Nobody wants to ride the box, but sometimes you get doubled up on the box just because of the way things fall out. I want them to know that I ain't, you know, just picking on somebody, but we're fair about how we do it, and how I do it.
Sometimes that's how the chips fall.
Yeah.
How important do you think college degrees are in today's fire department? Do you think it gives you an edge over the non-degrees firefighters?
I'll take experience over a piece of paper any day of the week. I think that it's a route. I know a lot of it nowadays is I teach at the college, and you have a lot of firefighters that go through get their certification. I've had good firefighters that's been to college and they're jam up firemen, and I've had other college grads that aren't worth 2 cents. So I believe it's the personality. I think everybody gets an equal shot, and then it'd be, to me, is you know, I want the guy that's going to go out there and that wants to do this job, not because, oh well, you know, I didn't make it at the bankroll or I didn't make it at this job. I want the guy who wants this job because it's in his heart, more so than a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So back to that.
Or just 5
I've
days
had
off
both.
with the pension.
Yeah, exactly. If that's your on your interview that you want 5 days off and a pension, then that's not the guy I want riding on the back of the rig with me.
All right. If you could pick one thing to be great at as a senior captain when it came to a task, what would it be?
One thing to be good at.
As a senior captain on an aerial apparatus.
I want to bring my guys all home. I mean, that's kind of a cliche, but I want to, you know, I like to be a hard charger, but I want to be a safe hard charger, and I want to make a difference, right? So if you say it's, I'm going to be the best ventilation captain in the city, right? That's got its perks, but you know what? I mean, you go in there and I'm going to be the first guy to do a primary search, right? I think I just want to be a hard charger, be well-rounded. That way, when that chief calls me in to do whatever job he has, whether it's pulling somebody off a balcony, searching a building, cutting a hole, I want him to know that when we roll up, that we're ready to play.
So I'm bringing guys home. What do you do to ensure success in that aspect?
Well, training being one. Training's huge. I mean, I need my guys. What I shoot for is everybody on that truck shouldn't be looking to me for answers every time. My guys need to know what I know and what I'm thinking. Because when we roll up, if I got to tell everybody every little thing, then it's no good. We're not going to be very efficient. But if my guys know that we got up, we're louver cutting if we're going to the roof, we're doing this, the roof ladder's getting hooked, all right, I'm going to be holding on to the coat. Everybody needs to know their position. And they need to know what I'm thinking. So as soon as he gets it cut, I got my guy with a brick on a stick, he's punching through, and where he stands and where he's going. And if this guy starts to slide, he's to get rid of the saw, he's sliding back, and I'm holding him, and we're sliding back to the ladder. I mean, all these things, you know, kind of go in my head, because I've played it in my mind a million times over the years, but they need to know that. So if I don't teach my guys what I'm thinking, so in case even when I'm gone, that they can make the right decisions, or when I am there, that we all jive as a well-oiled machine, that's what it's all about, is for me to pass on what I know and what I expect, not just something come up new and all of a sudden, bam, now you know, we're all kind of guessing what's going on.
So how do you bring a new guy up to speed? Whether it's a new firefighter transferring in or a rookie?
Well, everybody on the truck knows their assignment, their tools, their, you know, what's expected of them. If we're going to the roof, they know what tools to get. If they were going into a search, they know what tools to get. If they were doing an MVA or a JAWS call, they know what they're coming off with. Everybody kind of knows their position. So how do I relate it to new guys? Well, for one, after training my guys, they're real good about anybody new that comes on or tell them what's expected, all right, from the get-go the morning of. Then plus I come out there and reiterate it. And then just through training, I get a new guy, we're on the roof, we're practicing, we're throwing ladders, we're doing this, that, the other. But just between me and my crew, because you're only as good as your weakest link, and a great crew. I mean, like my chauffeur, when I come in as a firefighter, he was the senior pipeman at the station. And I learned a ton from him, a ton from him. And it's just, you know, it's that mentality. I want to push it to all my guys at the station that we're to train everybody. I mean, when I go and do a Deva Day, I'm working with guys. I always ask them, all right, what do y'all usually do, right? And try to fill it out, whether they got a game plan or not. If they don't have a game plan, I'm setting one up for the day, as basic as it might be, but just so we'll have a kind of a
Some action plan rather than no action plan.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, what's your method for conducting roof size in order to ventilate the roof?
All right, when we pull up, you know, I try to make the call from inside the truck, whether we're going to ventilate rooftop or fan. I know when we pull up, ventilation is key. So many fires, you know, I know primary search and ventilation. I think we had a change from the years back. Used to, I thought, back when I first got in, we ventilated real well. We took it and we charged hard, cutting holes, usually is the way it was done, but I thought we ventilated pretty well. Well, then the camera come out. What did the camera go on first? Put on the trucks. So that kind of, I thought, as a city, we kind of changed a little bit from now, so much ventilation, we got a camera, we need to get inside and do the primary search. So I thought ventilation kind of got pushed back a little bit to maybe the second truck or somebody else. When I roll up, I'm thinking primary one is just go up and ventilate. Granted, if there's people trapped, that's a different animal, but I'm thinking ventilation. Because if I get the smoke off, the pumper crew's gonna get in there quicker. They're gonna find the fire, and anybody else gonna be able to search a lot quicker. So I'm looking at ventilation. So with that in mind, I try to let my guys know when I'm getting out of the truck, hey, we're going to the roof, we're gonna use a fan. I try, right? Sometimes you can't look at it good enough, and I need to look, and then we'll make that call, but I try to. So if I say we're going to the roof, I'm trying to do my 360 or best I can. For sure, try to catch three sides and get the back. And I'm looking at my structure, looking at my smoke, what color is it, how bad is it pushing. All these things are going through your head, or going through my head, and I'm looking for where to put up the ladder. I've kind of bit myself in the butt before by throwing up a ladder real quick to the quickest place, and I wasn't the proper place. And whether it be too steep or for safety reasons, I'm trying to find a valley, a ridge or a valley, when we throw that roof ladder up for access to get up there to get our access point to where we go cut our hole.
Why a ridge or a valley?
Strongest places, your roof's gonna be your ridge or your valleys. Valleys are great because they're easier to walk, different angles. Even on a steep one, you can kind of duck walk, if you will, up the ridge, up the valley to the ridge, and then move on down. It's just we had a good one over at 19s one time. It was pouring rain and slicker than snot. Threw the ladder up first place, got up there, started cutting, was sliding real bad, and then started looking, hey, let's move the ladder over 8 feet, and there was a good valley, and got up there, cut from the valley up on the top, and it made it 10 times easier for us. Just that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking at my smoke. Is it pushing through my shingles? If it's pushing through my shingles, I already know that my plywood's probably burned away. The territory I'm in now, it's a lot of tongue and groove shiplap, if you will, on the roof for your decking. So you can get some smoke out of that. So it's not a telltale every time, but it is. And then as I'm going up, sounding that roof ridge, it's trying to stay on your ridge, sound your roof good. Going to the roof's dangerous. It really is. But just getting a good picture. If you got any warping in between your rafters, you know you got roof. And there's been a lot of them I've had to cut, and it's not where I wanted to cut it. I mean, I might be 15 foot short of where I wanted to be, but just with, you know, that's just a judgment call. And when you get a hole in them, it makes a huge difference.
What size hole do you try to go for?
Start off with a 4x6. I try to keep it 4 foot, no wider than 4 foot. You make it longer, but not wider. If you get farther than 4 foot, you can't reach across the pool if you have to. We do 4x6, and if anything, I'm gonna try to go a lot longer with it, 4x8, 10. If I need bigger, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna look at it. Is it still chugging? Because usually, if you get a good hot one and it's chugging real good, it's probably gonna light off one probably light off pretty quick after you get it popped.
So in that regards, are you plugged in when you start cutting?
Oh, what?
When do you plug in? As soon as you get on the roof, or is that based on conditions as well?
No. All right. So plug in. My rule is there's a little bit with conditions, but most times if we're going up to cut a hole, it's because it needs to be vented. I'm plugging in when we get on the ladder as we're climbing up, right? Because it's too easy to get up there and forget, or get up there. And usually what happens, you get up by the ridge, or your ridge, not your ridge, but your soffit. As you're climbing up, you start eating smoke and almost come back down just to plug in because you took a big breath of the crap. So we plug in before we go up. I want to be the first one on the roof because I'm sounding on the way up. All right, I don't, that's just one of my deals. I'm gonna be the first one up sounding it, and I'm gonna be the last one off. And it's not a macho thing. It's not a pride thing. It's just I want to make sure when we go up, I'm sounding. I'm doing all the things. All it takes is one person not to sound, not to do the right step, or kind of step the wrong direction, and they're through the roof. So.
I think the pumper officers would be the same way, first in, last out? Is that different?
First in, last out. Well, on a pumper, they want them capping behind the nozzle, man. I agree with that. I mean, he's going in, he's right there with him. It's not like he's 20 foot behind him. But I believe that, they should go in the door at the same time together.
For your rooftop ventilation, what's the method do you use to cut the hole? Do you louver it? You just do one giant 4x6 and then take that section off? Or
It's been, I've seen a lot of them. When they come in, my captain we always cut 4x4. He wanted a 4x4 hole cut and an X across the middle of it, right? So we did it that way for years. It works, right? Then I had another captain come in and he wanted a 4x4 and he wanted to do, you notch one corner and pull the whole sheet up. It works too. Preferably I like the louver cut. I think it's the fastest. You put more time on the saw, less time beating your guts out. And with the louver cut, if you cut it about a foot apart, if you get your 4x6 and I start with our top cut, check your wind direction always. Start top cut and then start doing my verticals down and burn my bottom on the last cuts. Usually half of them will fall through, and we use the brick on a stick. I like a brick on a stick over a tool. I know a lot of guys like the trash hook or the New York hook. We're all shiplap in our territory, so brick on a stick to me does two things. It doesn't have me right over top of the hole with my weight. I can stand back with that brick on a stick and get that weight coming like a.
How much is that brick on a stick weigh?
It's about 10 pounds. The head we have on ours. You can stand back from the hole and beat the roofing through, and then slide it through and let it hit, and start beating for your shiplap down below on you.
How long is it?
It's a 10-footer.
10 foot.
10 foot, yeah.
I'm trying to think when you add anything to that question. So when you're cut, you said check for wind. Let's say we have the wind direction coming from our left, blowing to our right. You make your first cut going across the ridge?
That's kind of dependent. It just depends on how much wind and how bad it is. But usually I try to hit the top cut first. I usually try to do it. Does it always plan out perfect? No, but I usually try to catch the top cut and start downwind and work my way back.
So your first cut would be across the ridge, louvers down, the way down.
Yep, back
Then
towards
your
the
last cut was the bottom one going back to where we.
I always try to work back to my roof ladder, right?
Okay.
And usually my position is I'm holding the firefighter's air pack, lower strap, and I'm holding on to him as he's cutting, right? Other firefighter, he's got the roof ladder up, he's got the roof ladder, and he's got the brick on the stick, he comes up, and he's gonna crawl up past me a couple steps, on the stick, sitting on the ladder waiting. And then once he gets through cutting, this guy drops down, and then the guy on the brick on the stick starts working.
So for that scenario, is everybody on the same ladder, or is there two ladders? How's that
Usually
work?
one ladder, right?
One ladder. So you're on the ladder with the cut man,
Mm-hmm.
and then the brick and stick guy is behind you.
And kind of he eases up and kind of gets.
So he goes off the ladder.
As we go after the far cut, we step out. I got him,
Okay.
and he kind of eases up.
That's when he slides by you.
Yeah, slides by. Let's talk about if you do have an issue on the roof. All right, so if we do go up and we had a guy fall through, what's the game plan? Right, I've been asked that several times.
Yeah, seems to happen quite a bit lately.
Right,
Not here in
well,
HMD, but
Right,
nationwide.
our game plan is a couple things. First thing, get the mayday call coming, right? Holler, mayday, mayday, mayday. First thing we do is we grab the roof ladder and we shove in the hole he just fell through, right? As we shove that thing in through the roof ladder, hopefully he can find it. Trying to get, we're gonna call for that, and then I'm gonna call the mayday and give me a line to the roof, right? It's not usually there. We don't go up to the line, but get one coming just in case. Because in our territory, you're not going all the way through. is shiplap. So if it's, you know, and then there's not many attic accesses, so you're stuck in the attic. So either we're gonna get him out the top, or we're gonna, you know, get a line or open it up from the top. The second thing is another firefighter with us, is one's going in, the ladder's going into the roof. The second firefighter, he's starting to trench cut from the hole all the way down to the eave, right? He's gonna start burning the trench. That way, if nothing else, if that firefighter can just get to where he could walk himself out of the attic, because it's picture your roof, closer you get to the eave, and more he's gonna be, the taller he'll be.
How big is it, how wide is the trench cut?
Well, we're just gonna cut it, cut it, get in between two rafters, so 16 inches roughly, and cut it all the way to the eave. Just burn a little bit as you move down. Each step, pulling it as you go, and just making that hole all the way to the edge.
You ever heard of turning the attic into a floor, or the roof into a floor? It's kind of similar to the trench cut, except we cut across the top rafters, cutting through the rafters.
Right.
Maybe it's a 6-8 feet
Mm-hmm.
away from the fire, over the hole, and cut down to the edge of the roof.
Right.
And then cut halfway to the bottom rafters. We're at the halfway point where you cut through halfway, it'd fall in,
And that makes a pat.
that makes
It makes sense,
yeah.
but I've never heard anybody ever talk about it, to be honest with you.
We just did it once, just at a house fire, was after the fire was out,
Right.
to see how it would go.
Practice.
It looked pretty good, but when I brought it to somebody else, they said, what all the stuff in your attic? I was like, yeah, there's a lot of crap in my
Yeah,
attic.
who's gonna make it?
But your territory, maybe,
Right.
I'm gonna make a difference, there's not much attic space up there. I would
Right.
imagine
Yeah, they don't have much.
Christmas trees up there and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, usually the attic access is pretty small and in a closet, so a lot of times there's not a ton of attic stuff other than just the regular AC and stuff.
So you kind of touch bases on what your crew does as far as assignments. So are they set by the guy right behind you gets this specifically, the guy right behind the EO gets this tool specifically?
Yeah,
Who
usually,
gets what?
we usually do it by riding assignment. The guy behind me, usually he's coming off with irons every time, all right? And then if we say, okay, I said we're gonna go to the roof, he's usually, he's got his irons, he's grabbing a saw. So he's got, you know, irons in one hand, saw in the other. I clear them all every time we go, come off. Guy on the other side, if we're going to the roof, he's helping the EO get ladders, and then he's coming up. Say it's a one story, going 2 16s, the EO's getting one, he's getting the other one, he's grabbing the brick on a stick. If it's a 28, then they're probably gonna both jump on it, throw it up, and then come up the roof ladder, second ladder. So he's coming right there in there with it behind us, you know, with anything on the roof. The steeper the roof, you know, sometimes you have to have a roof ladder, so, you know, we have them every time, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, but with that being said, you know, the steeper it is, the steepness dictates everything, hole size and everything. You get a little small hole, you probably got a steep roof, right?
Okay.
So yeah, pucker factor.
Yeah, that's what Captain Jenkins calls it.
So, and with that, too, is, you know, I'm always shooting for a 4 by 6, but you know what, if it's a real steep one and we can't get off the roof ladder, it might be a 3.5 by 8, because we know what, I might say, okay, look, we can't get out there wide enough, let's just start burning it all the way down longer. And, you know, I've done it before. Do we throw 2 roof ladders up there, one on each side of the hole, and burn across this side, that side? That's time consuming. Or let's cut one and move my ladder over, but that means getting everybody off, and if it's a real steep one, we're gonna get all the way off to the ladder we
Yeah.
started at. So I just say now I'm gonna try to just burn it. And what I've done before is we'll burn it just from the top and just make it a longer, you know, as wide as I can get it and make it longer and go down the roof. Another thing you didn't touch on, I've always used to be K12 with a metal, with the carbide blade. Well, I had a pretty steep one time, and it was wet, and it was way out there, and, well, I noticed that K12 was bogging on me real bad. Well, K12 blade, you know, 12 inches wide, and it don't wanna bend, it don't wanna cut a circle. K12 wants to cut a straight line, whereas that chainsaw will cut. If I'm reaching over there, it's gonna have to curve back to me, because I just can't do it. So, I was always, I guess, too, because we had good K12, and the chainsaw wasn't as dependable. But now it's, I'm chainsaw.
So which chainsaw do you prefer? The bit saw, the steel?
I like the steel with the longer blade. I mean, you can get it out in front of you a little bit farther. You don't have to be over top of it so much, because, you know, when that air packing on, you stand over top where you've cut, and it's, you know, it's a little teeter factor, whereas that steel gets out a little farther. And it will work for good for us.
You ever had any near misses on the roof?
Yes. I had one time, we're cutting, well, I've had a couple. One time I was filling in.
So what happened with the,
Near miss. All right, we was on a roof, cutting the roof. Well, let me back it up. So I went to another station. They bring 2 saws to the roof. we have two saws there, one on the roof cutting, another one usually at the base, or they'll set it up top of the ladder just in case we need another one. But, so anyway, there's one time, I was in another house, good house. Guys knew what they're doing, they had a game plan. I like that when I go to another station. They got a game plan, so I'll roll with their game plan. So we took two saws to the roof, wasn't a very steep one, 3 o'clock in the morning, so we're cutting. So we get, and their tools were there, they were opposite cuts and opposite sides, you stay away from each other, it all sounded great, till I heard the two saw blades ting together. And I was like, oh, I got a sick feeling, oh crap, we could have just lost a hand. So, with that being said, that was a close call, but I'm a one saw guy on the roof. Because it gets smoky up there, and with two blades spinning, everybody moving around, steep roof, it's just more option for get somebody hurt.
Disaster.
And even with this one, another one, I'll tell you, we was cutting a hole, and I had a rookie on the truck with me as a second phase. So I got a seasoned guy on the saw. I'm holding his belt. He did his top cut. He's louvering back towards the ladder. And as he gets to that last louver up where he got to the ladder, the rookie got a little, he's ready to punch through. He knew his job was a punch guy. And he stepped forward as he drops that saw, and it hits him on the top of his boot. It went through the boot, through the sock, did not touch his skin. Once again, by the grace of God, the chain, for whatever reason, he cut that hole, he cut top, side cut, and 4 vertical cuts, and the blade lock kicked off on it. It stopped the saw. As he stretched out, it made no sense why it was stopped, why he was stretched all the way out. I can see when you get close, your hand kind of pop him sometimes.
Yeah.
He was all the way out, and the blade lock stopped. The blade stopped through this boot now, through the sock. Didn't touch the skin.
Big lotto ticket.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Yeah.
that was another one. Another thing is when you're on the roof, you got to think about it too. Is if you're working a saw, if you're slipping, if it's a steep one and you're cutting and your feet slip out, you're falling on top of your saw. I mean, you got the potential to fall,
Right.
Fall forward on top of your saw. So, we talk about it a lot. Hadn't had to do it, but if you got an unasked one, get it away from you. As quick as possible. Try to fall away from it if you start sliding. Another thing I'll do is we didn't mention is I try to line up with vent pipes. If I know I'm coming over here to cut a hole and I want it over here and I see a vent pipe, it might be 5 or 6 foot shy of where I want to be or too farther than where I want to be. I'll line up with a vent pipe to just in case somebody starts to slide down the roof. They got something.
By line up with the vent pipe, you mean it's if we're here, the vent pipe's here, here's where we're gonna cut at,
or if there's a vent pipe up on the roof, like maybe for a bathroom, whatever, and it's I'll put it between mine and my sliding off the roof. So as I'm sliding down the roof and there's a vent pipe down lower, I might line up with that one instead of moving over a couple feet this way or that way, to in case something happens. Somebody starts sliding, whatever reason, we got something to grab onto before we slide off the roof.
so if somebody does slide, you start sliding.
Okay.
What?
We practice on this is unask the saw, get it away from you, quick as possible, or the best way possible, and then start rolling towards the ladder. Just doing a full roll, because if you're sliding, I'm hoping I'm going to remember this, because when pucker factor's all over you, it's easy to say what we're going to do, but we go out and we practice it, and it actually works, is if you start sliding down the roof, is you start rolling back towards the ladder, you come up your roof ladder, right? Or towards the ladder where you came up on. If it's within a couple feet of you, you can roll over there, and as you're sliding down the roof, you can roll and get lined back up with the ladder you came up, or maybe enough to grab your roof ladder. Will I remember that when pucker's all over me? Because it's easy to sit here and talk about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to do when you think you're about to meet.
But we always revert back to our training, so
right.
You've been training on it.
So and that's one of the things I'll do with my rookies. Get up there, even if it look kind of stupid us rolling around on the roof, but that's what we do. We practice it. And
Is that the only method you've had?
That's the only thing we've done. I mean, we had with the rope, and we've had them where they had the big carabiners on the rope and hook it to your pack and all, but never really took off that much. We never used it that much. So I don't know. I just hadn't used that one. But that was another one we had back years ago. We had one roof ladder with a rope and a big carabiner tied to it at all times. But they just.
So you remember it was tied off to the ladder per se?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Rope was tied off, and he was tied off to that.
So what assignments does your crew have for extrication?
All right, extrication. Usually when we come off the truck, my driver, he's stabilization. He's looking at it. If it's on all fours, he's going to be throwing the step jocks. Or step jocks cribbing, box crib if possible, depending on what it is. If we got to use the struts because they're one that's on their side or on the roof or something that needs struts, that's going to be pretty much all of us that's gonna be a group effort, if we use the struts, but for the most part, EO's catching stabilization with, cribbing or step shocks. Firefighter behind me, another firefighter, they're going to get the power unit and the hoses, getting them out stretched out, and then the cutters or spreaders. Firefighter behind me usually has the, spreaders, the firefighter behind the EO has the cutters.
So both firefighters are setting up the unit, hoses,
Setting up the
and
unit,
the tools.
setting up the unit, yes, getting the tools, getting them over there.
So do they have a set procedure as who gets what off, or they just, as a group, just?
Usually it's they get the unit together, unit and hoses together, come out, drop them down, and they go back and both of them grab a tool. Usually they, I don't know which comes out first, but they know that the one
So the
behind.
tool, so the power unit and the hoses go as
Come
one.
together.
and
There's
and
one
get
come
the
back,
tools.
grab the two tools, right?
Okay.
Cut and spread, we hook up everything every time. You know, and then now it's, you know, you're cutting more than you're spreading, so we try to do a third door conversion on it each time, or, you know, kind of go in with that mindset. It's fluid, it changes as we go. We're just trying to, you know, and I'm trying to have the engine crews, get on there, get on scene, put a line on the ground every time. I know the policy says bring a DICAM. You got a person that's been in a car wreck, and now they having every kind of issue, they're thinking they're dying. And if we do have a fire breaks out, you dump a DICAM and they can't breathe, now you got a dry chem, you dump in the car with them, you just make things worse, so.
So red line, do you mean a red line or a cross lay?
Crosslay, put a crosslay on the ground every time, and then try to have them try to get the batteries. Get the batteries, you know, catch the battery,
Is a cross lay charged or just? at the
yes, have a crosslay charge, I mean, all it takes is a second to spark, and time you get back, and yeah, it's just, I mean, that's our job.
What about your, is there any assigned procedures for forcible entry?
Forcible entry on, just in-house, residential,
House,
commercial.
apartment, whatever structure.
All right, forcible entry, well, usually all three of us are coming off together if we're going to do forcible entries, me and my two firefighters. Truck chauffeur, he's sitting there, he's, I want him on commercial or residential, whatever, I want him to think it's staging. I want him to be staging from the get-go, what we can set up we're gonna need. From the firefighters, the guy behind me's always got the irons, right? And the guy on the other side's gonna have a 2-man pike pole for our territory. But, so getting in the front door, usually or back door on a residential, you know, a set of irons should get us there. If it's commercial, it's a different animal, right? So we pull up, I've got a commercial, and I know a lot of times we try to, you know, TP cut at the garage door, whatever. I mean, not to say that we don't do that, but I'm trying to go into the regular door beside the garage door. I'd rather go in the regular door, rabbit tool, K12, cutting the lock, whatever it might be, get in that door, and then when I get that garage door, get on the inside. When we go into commercial, I got bolt cutters and a metal cutting saw going in with us. And we try to get to that lock mechanism on that overhead door. If I get a 14-foot roll-up door, I got a lot of ventilation and I got a good access way for everybody coming in and out. And if there's multiple large doors, we'll work our way around, hitting door to door to door to door, trying to get them all up. And that way we got ventilation working, we got access, we got a lot more. But I see a lot of times we go straight off to cut that metal door instead of going in a little door a little farther down.
Yeah.
And we lose that door. I mean, now it's stuck down because we got a TP cut in it when we could have had the whole thing up and have a good, you know, good ventilation, good everything.
You ever seen guys, or heard of the method of where they turn the garage door into an actual giant door?
Yeah, where you cut it down, cut it low, and then pivot it around, cut it all the way from one side and pivot to the other side. That works.
You like, what's your opinion on that method? Do you like it, don't like it, or?
All right, well, you cut this high. You try to put that K12 up here and hold it for a little bit, you can see most of them, they all end up in, you know,
But you're pretty tall though, you can probably get it pretty high.
yeah, until my arms get tired and I put it right here, then you walk through it and I'm still hitting the head. But no, it works, it does work, but I'd rather get that roll-up door up all the way. And then, you know, roll it up and get it chain, you know, if it's a chain, roll it, you know, if it's on the chain, whatever, wrap it, make sure it can't come back down. That's personally what I'm shooting for, you know, 'cause a lot of times we think of ventilation on commercial when we roll up. I'm thinking ventilation, but I'm gonna go better ventilation, get them doors up. So personally, I'm gonna get access first, cause kind of my mind changed. You know, in a house fire, I'm going up, I'm thinking vent, right? On that, I'm thinking, okay, 4th century, let's get these doors open and have the second truck think about going to the roof, or maybe going opposite side if it's a big warehouse and getting the doors up over there to help get that ventilation, cause usually when you get them big commercial doors up, it'll give you a 3 to 4 foot lift pretty quick. On it, and that's a lot of times everything, you know, you can see through it a lot better and make a lot better access.
Advance a lot faster, they get good visibility. We touched this a little bit earlier on crews onto the roof. What are your thoughts on bringing a line up to the roof while ventilating?
it can't hurt. It's just your manpower. You know, usually we're going to the roof. I'm trying to get done in 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Time wise, spending my extra time dragging a line with us and all. Now we're getting into, spending more time. If I had to have my guys do it, I mean.
What if you had the manpower for it? Like say the ambulance or the squad or?
It can't hurt, absolutely. Right? Would you ever spray on a roof?
No, unless somebody, like we talked about that guy
Absolutely,
falling in. Yeah.
absolutely. It's always been a no-no. You never spray into a roof,
Yeah.
right? Well, so think about it. All right, you got a roof on a roof. Firing in this void space between a flat roof that they put a pitched roof, flat tar and gravel roof, they put a pitched roof on top of it. How you gonna put it out? Cut a hole, put the line in. Excuse me. So never say never in this game. It's always been you never put a hole.
So was that one new scenario?
Absolutely. So yeah, it can't hurt, but and it's a safety factor. It's no different than any other safety factor we take. Just
All right, when you're given the assignment to conduct a primary search, what process do you go through in your head to determine how you're going to conduct it? What I mean by how is what it makes you determine whether you go left, right, front door, back door, vendor search.
okay. All good questions. If we come in, I'm doing a 360. Where's the most fire? Where's the most smoke? Where's it coming from, right? So when I go in, a lot of times, the engine will be right there in front of us, so they're going in, right in front of us. If it's, I'm in the door first, I'm thinking about bedroom side. I'm looking at the driveway, which side's the driveway on. Usually bedrooms are opposite side of the driveway. I'm probably gonna go the opposite side of the driveway. If I come in and engine's already inside and I see the engine going left, we're probably gonna go right. They're doing kind of a search as they're going through, if they find anybody, so we're gonna go opposite. After I get in, what my game plan to me and my guys is we're gonna do a right or left search, whatever it might be. First bedroom I come to, or first room I come to, I usually leave a guy at the door. Me and another firefighter will get in there, do a quick search, come back.
Wait, I'm going to cut you off. When you do a quick search, you go left, the other guy goes right?
If I'm in a bedroom or something, I'm looking at my structure.
Right.
But if it's a little bedroom, yeah. If it's a,
So when you meet up in the middle, do you just go back the way you came? Or
Yeah, we'll stay in the wall.
Just continue.
We'll kind of go left or right in the bedroom and then meet up and then come out. Following the wall back out. Usually on my side, they turn around and say, all right, let's go, and they'll follow me on my wall out.
Okay.
We'll go back to the doorway, pick the other firefighter up, and stay on the right-handed search if we were. Go to the next bedroom, do the same thing, kind of bunny hop bedroom to bedroom. Trying to do quick pace. One thing learning, bathrooms, make sure you check the tub. People go to the tubs.
Right. So during this primary search, do you guys still have the irons?
We usually have a 2-man, and he'll drop one of the tools, and I have 2 of them in his hands, the irons.
Right.
So I got my maul, and he'll usually bring him Halligan. He'll drop the flathead axe. So we still got I got my
And
maul. He's got his.
The firefighter with the 2-man? What do you do?
And the firefighter with a 2-man, what he's going to be doing is he's waiting and he's searching too. But then we are eventually, depending on where the pumper crew's at, I don't want to open a hole behind the pumper crew. But if we get in there and we see that it's, I feel like, like a lot of our stuff shiplap. So a lot of times you can see it burning through. So if we see it, pumper crew's closed, we'll open up, see them while they're there, hurry up, get in the attic.
But he's still bringing it with him though? Is that
Oh, every time.
Okay.
Yeah, every time. We like the New York hook too, but the 2-man's just got, we made out one with a real small. Used to the old 2-mans had a big wide long
Yeah.
point on them, and it took you a little while to beat through. Well, now we got more of a harpoon looking point on it, which we've it's a little easier to get through. And then, once you get it broke through, then it's just a matter of hooking and pulling until you break each individual one. But it works pretty good.
What about vendor search? What's your opinion on that? Do you have a technique or
Absolutely.
pro against?
Yeah, we're definitely pro vendor search. And, I look at vendor search as, hey, they're in that room right there. That's when I pull up, even if I got in my mind, okay, I'm ventilating, I'm going to the roof, now, hey, they're in that room right there. We had one a couple weeks ago, this exact scenario. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to the roof, hey, he's in that room right there. So we go to that room. So it is, now, it's always been vendor search, now it's vendor isolate search, right? So I try to get my guys to think too, like on this one, this was the A-B corner of the house, right? So we entered the front on the A side, so we're in the A-B corner. So we break out the window and I teach my guys to, where's that doorway gonna be at in that room? Think about it, by looking at the structure, where's the doorway?
So if I'm facing the structure from the alpha side, we're in the AB corner, if I was to get entry into the window, it'd probably be off toward my right.
Exactly, it's gonna be on the right wall or your straight back wall, right? So that's automatic right hand search. I mean, the right hand, hit the wall, follow it down till you find the door, right? So I try to get my guys to think outside the box and not just get tunnel vision over vendor search, but look at the big picture, right? Where's my door gonna be possibly? You know, we pick different rooms every once in a while. We'll drive by a house, all right, you got a vendor search, and you're going in that window, where's your possible door you're gonna be? And just get everybody thinking, right? So we, our deal is we got, 3 firefighters, they'll leave one at the window. Myself and one of the firefighters, they make entry into the window.
Who goes in first?
Who goes in first? I usually am the first one in. Not every time, but most of the time I try to go in first. I try to sit there and then pick which way I think I'm gonna go to the wall. So go to the wall and get that door shut, right? And this other person starts searching out. And usually in my mind, a lot of times vendor search is, all right, this is real bad. All right, we got one shot of saving somebody in this room. So we're gonna get in there quick, grab them and get out. So it's real quick, down
Do
and
you
dirty.
utilize your camera during this time?
Yes, dude. Try to get there at the window. Get a look before I ever get in there. Maybe it'll show me where the door's at. Show me where the victim's at. But yeah, I got it with me. I take it with me. I use it when I can. Sometimes, it's not the tell all, see all,
Right.
answer to everything. And sometimes they got their place. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't.
At what point in your vendor search do you say, we can't go in there?
Well, I'll let the one recently, it was heavy. I mean, as soon as I stuck my head to crawl in the window, there was a lot of heat around my head, so I knew it was smoking hot. So I told them, hey, get on your belly, stay on your belly, and we stayed on our belly and through the search, and never did find the door. It was a hoarder house, couldn't find it. Anyway, we hit the far wall. I said, all right, time to go. I knew we didn't have long on this one. We had one shot, and one was saying he was in there, and his car was in there. There was a car in the driveway.
Was anybody in there?
He drove up 10 minutes later with his son. They went out to lunch.
Seems to happen that way all the time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if I was a rookie senior captain and I'm on apparatus tomorrow, and I ask you, hey, what do I look for to not go inside the vendor search? Is there any certain color of smoke? What should tell me no, don't go in there, Dave?
Well, I'm gonna look at it. Once you get the window broke out, and then look at your smoke. I mean, if it's pushing heavy pressure, dark smoke, or if it's dark turning that gray and it's boiling out, there's lazy smoke and there's that really pushing smoke, and the smoke that looks like clouds. It's got it's real turbulent.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's ready to light. And then now, with me, a lot of the new things we're learning are flow paths. We didn't talk about them much in the past, but I could have possibly created a new flow path here with the doors being open. And I'm looking at that smoke and all. Once you get in that thing, it's you might just have seconds. So just the heavy smoke, the pushing. How low is it pushing out? This one here, when we got in there, it was pushing out the top 2 foot of the window, or coming out of the window is about 2 foot down, but down here wasn't so bad. It wasn't the whole window engulfed, because if the whole window would have been just pushing that hard, heavy smoke, my head got up high in that smoke, and I could feel a lot of the heat on it, so I knew it was hot. But we was able to get under it. I come up to that same scenario when I got smoke pushing out from that window, from the top to the bottom of that window seal, then it's not likely that we're gonna make entry into that.
So then a high velocity of smoke with thick, turbulent, black cotton candy look to it.
Absolutely.
If it engulfs the entire window, that'd be
Yeah, it could be. It's a no-go. I mean,
No-go now.
you're looking at it too. You're going in there to get somebody, right? Well, if it's pushing out at that low in that room, I mean, once we got under it, it wasn't real bad on that one. I knew it was hot, but if it's pushing out that whole window, he's probably not going to be a survivable victim in that room.
So
Most likely.
if it is a go situation, you're in there vendor searching, what is the firefighter outside doing?
He's standing at the window and he's talking to us. All right, whatever term you want to use it, he's just giving us our bearings. He stays at that window, and that's his whole job, just keeping our bearings. Because it's a quick, down and dirty, and I might not be staying on the wall perfectly. I'm just doing one little room.
You said you carry your maul. Do you use the maul for searching?
Absolutely. I'm crawling, got it by the head. I'm just searching, swinging it out, trying to feel the far wall, find that wall, and just work my way around. Staying. Key is, we talked a little bit about different departments doing different things, and little departments, we're used to, we know this, that, and other. But what I've seen though is, you see a lot of these little departments, they'll sit there and they'll get in there and they get down. Since we had the hood for years, we got so many guys that walk. That's one of my big pet peeves, is I stay low. I learned from some of the good ones. Captain Baker at 19s, Ricky Baker and Captain Thomas at 19s. We'd get towards 19s from 18s, and we'd get there and they'd have a shotgun. I said, man, it's out time we get there, right? And I was like, man, Captain Thomas, how'd you find it so quick? He goes, man, I get down. Everybody else, he goes, I get to the door, I get a good look in there, get my little layout or kind of look at it. Oh, there it is back in the back. And he goes, and I'll take off. And he goes, no, I ain't crawling the whole way. He goes, I'll grab a line. He goes, but I get down, I'll get a look at it. Cabins are paid at 25, same thing. We get over across the freeway, man, he's got it already out, you know, knocking it out. It's white smoke coming out everywhere. Man, how'd you find it so fast? We got down. He goes, everybody now is walking. Everybody's walking everywhere. And so,
I like when you see all the handprints, people walking on the wall.
well, and then, you know, we all know it. It's but the basic fire theory, but everyone wants to stand up and walk in it. So now, if I can't see, we're on the ground. You ask my guys, they know we're crawling. And we'll be crawling by crews standing. And you wouldn't believe how many of them I've found, not patting myself on the back, but guys, hollering, squealing, and I can see it 15, 20 feet in front of them, or, you know, to a bedroom to the right or the left. I'm down on the ground. That's where it's safer, it's cooler, and visibility is everything in this game.
Do you utilize the positive pressure fan for vertical or horizontal ventilation?
Both. Yep.
When do you implement it? What's the procedure?
Well, when we go, if I'd say I'm going to go to the roof, my chauffeur knows he's still grabbing the fan, and it doesn't get. He'll usually crank it up, and just have it on idle, sitting by the front door, waiting to get turned on all the way.
At the door, sideways?
At the door, usually he'll have it idle sideways. He's at it ready, aim, but it's just aim sideways. It's not blowing in.
Okay.
It's just sitting there idling, and then all he's got to do is spin it and throw it on high idle. And that's if we're going up. As soon as he sees the holes popped up top, we've got to deal with, all right, we got the hole pop, anyway, and he's
So he waits on the visual cue, looking at
He'll
you,
wait.
or on the radio?
He'll wait, visual cue usually, and then he'll hear me, because I usually, once we get the hole cut, I'm radio command, hole's been cut, coming off the roof, so he'll know we're coming off, and that's kind of a cue to him. And then we talk with our engine companies that we run with too. They know that, hey, look, we're probably going to be popping the fan to help that pressurize it, push it. If you go in the door, it's going to help push it and get it off you more. You know, there's all that saying, do you ever start a fan with a crew already inside? It's always been no, because you don't know if it's got blockage that pushes it behind them. Well, here we're making our opening out the top. So, so we do use it with, and man, I'm telling you, it's impressive at times when you crank it up, and it'll be smoke coming out real good, but you crank the fan up, it really pushes it out the top.
What about horizontal ventilation? Do you ever use it for fan?
Yeah, sure do. Key being getting the backside opened up. Just out of something they sent out from the academy, one of the UL studies, or the I forget what little deals they did. We've always been talking about the fan and how close it is to the door to cover the entire opening. And what this last class I went to was more so as the exit hole was more important than how close the fan is. So being the fan, because you can't always get the door to seal all the way around because of where it's all set and how you lay out. But the exit hole needs to be a lot bigger than we've always had it. They're saying they're showing that some of the stuff they've done that you get a big exit hole, right?
You try to use a door, or if you have a window, do you make it bigger?
Yeah, window bigger, or usually it's a door. That way I give access to my pumper crew in case they got a.
All right, we're gonna pause real quick for a phone call. Let's pick where we left off. Where were we? Positive pressure, horizontal ventilation.
Right.
Big exit point.
Big exit point, getting the fan set up. The territory we're in, if I had to put numbers on it, I'm probably 70-30, 70% hole, 30% fan. But not to say that it don't change with that. I'm not always going in with, I'm cutting the hole every time. I'm looking at my eaves, looking at the pressure, looking at where it's pushing from, as I'm doing that 360 to make that decision. And before we've had it where we started off, headed to the roof, and then we changed it to the fan and midstreams top, changed it to a fan and went in, put the fan in, got the back opened up. What I try to do is, as I'm doing my 360, I'm gonna try to open that back door. Even if I say we're going to the roof, I make that 360, I go around the back door, I'm gonna try to open the back door a couple times, a couple kicks. If it's real intense getting into it, I might not get it open, but most every time I'm trying to get the back door open. And then a lot of times if I know I'm going to the roof, and I might just sit there and pull it back, close, but have an exit point for the pumper. It's not locked, but they can get on out quickly. That's kind of my game plan when I'm going around the back.
So when you do open it up, you close it?
I close it. Just depends on what we're going to do. If it's and it's changing. It's my thoughts change too since we learned about flow paths, right? So we want to close everything up. We don't want to just open it. In the past has been, if we're going to use a fan, leave it open. That's our exit path. But you do pull it closed. But now with the flow path things, I'm gonna pull it closed behind them, but I'm gonna make sure it's where they can get it open pretty easy. Not be a lot.
What are your expectations of your tower chauffeur?
A lot. Well, one thing is with any chauffeur, they got to be thinkers. They got to be on their feet thinkers, right? You got to trust them. You got to train, but you got to let them do their thing. Because a lot of times when that chauffeur drops me off, I'm given an assignment, going to do whatever job I'm doing. He's on his own. Well, he's got to be the one, the good, thinking on, like when our territory, if we come up on a 2-story, we got a 2.5 story we went up on, and he threw my chauffeur threw, I think we had 9 ladders on that building, and it was a 2.5 story, a nasty hoarder one. I was glad to see ladders at all the windows going up to, to the roof, every place. But with that chauffeur, you got to give them the ability to make those calls on their own, whether they have to remove the truck, go around the block, put it somewhere else, but give them the leeway to make those, to think outside the box and to do what happens. Engine chauffeurs, that 3rd in engine, that chauffeur should be dropping that crew off to do whatever they got to do. He should be looking for a second water supply. I mean, you don't see that a whole lot, but that's what a good active chauffeur should be doing. That way he's got stage ready to go. Might not ever drop hose, but if it goes south, we got already set up. We ain't got to sit there and piece that out. But with the truck chauffeur, he's assisting us on whatever job we're doing, getting the stuff set up, getting ladders, getting lights. It's just getting the fan set up. It's just a lot to it. And then, he's always on the roof. You think, okay, we're going on the roof. He ain't thinking fan. Well, he's getting the fan, getting it set up, getting it idled at the front door just in case you need it. He's got, another ladder on the backside, because once him and that firefighter throw the first set of ladders, we always want that other ladder on the opposite side somewhere in case we get cut off. Another time we went to the roof, tried to get the aerial ladder up on it, couldn't. It was a big 2-story. Couldn't get the ladder up on it, so we get up through a 28, took a roof ladder up with us, got up there, we started cutting it, got about halfway through cutting it, and had, a little bit of the hole opened up, and I felt the whole roof kind of just felt like something snapped under us, and this big hard bounce. I was, time to go. So we get coming off the roof. Now the smoke is so bad where when we're coming up, I'm sliding on my butt with a brick on a stick trying to find the roof ladder we came up on, and I run into the bucket of the aerial. And I tell you, he had to stop, pull the truck up, he backed it in to the driveway a little bit where his outriggers were still make contact very good. And he got the bucket up under the lines, got it up to the roof with us. There wasn't a better feeling in the world than running into that bucket up on that roof. And I ran into the bucket before I saw it, a foot away from me. It was that smoky.
So is that a standard for Tower 18 when you go on the roof, have them set up the aerial if possible?
If I am going on a 2-story, I want that aerial up, if possible. If possible, I'd rather climb that aerial all day of the week than I would.
So do you prefer that be your primary means of getting on the roof?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if I can put that bucket up, more of a ladder truck or whatever, I'm going to use that one instead of that 28. Time you get manpower out one way or the other is probably just as quick. Probably take a hair longer on that. But you got, with us, if we put the bucket up, I've got a set of irons up there with me. I got a roof ladder up there with me. So basically we're grabbing a saw and a crew and heading up, and we already got the other stuff already up on the ladder and the bucket already up there. So it kind of saves you some steps.
So when that scenario pans out, where you utilize the tower as your primary means, do you, does Wible set up the outriggers and you guys are in the bucket already and advance from there? Or is it bucket up in the air?
They're throwing plates, firefighters are throwing plates, outriggers get out, and that's about the time we start climbing up on the ladder. We climb up to the bucket. Usually he'll take us off if we're in the bucket. He'll guide us, get in the direction, getting headed that way, and then we'll take it over for the last easing in, ease it up to the building. But he usually gets us going and started and headed that way, and then we take over right when the last couple of feet.
So the scenario you just told me about where you ran into the bucket, you guys get on scene, determine, hey, we're going to use ground ladders instead?
We tried to use the aerial, but power lines just didn't look like it was going to make it, so we grabbed the 28 instead. And then time we went up there, started getting the hole cut, he got up there, stabbed it, like I said.
So he readjusted it.
He adjusted and got it right, yeah.
So kind of on that same scenario, another question, somebody had asked me somebody asked if I could ask you this. What is your advice or technique for cutting a hole in the roof with low visibility due to smoke or?
Well, smoke's gonna be everything. If it's that smoky, your saw's probably not gonna be running, right? So smoke is everything. So looking at your wind direction, seeing which way the smoke's going.
Let's say it's a cold day, no wind, smoke just
kind of sitting,
just lingering right there and slowly banging down the street, but you got that little area on the roof where you can't see.
Right. Well, we're still gonna go through our same process. I'm still gonna try to get my louver cut. Still gonna try to do everything the same. But if it's just hanging out low, is the saw's still running, that saw's gonna cut a lot better than me with you know, the flathead axe, which, I mean, if the saw ain't doing it, we're gonna start swinging an axe, you know, using the backside of a flathead. I carry them all too, so a couple of us gonna be swinging, trying to beat through if possible, but can we reposition and move to another spot that might be a little better? Possibly, yeah, let's look into it. Jimmy, look, you know, absolutely, if we can move down a little bit, where smoke, maybe it's lapping out of the eave and just running up the roof, a little bit, where we can move down, you know, 5-10 foot, you know, get a little bit better access, a little less smoke. Let's do it, and let's try it. You know, in a house, you know, I know textbook, directly over the fire at the highest point. That's not always possible though.
Yeah.
So if I cut it 10 to 15 foot over, is it gonna still help the guys on the inside?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely it will. No, I don't wanna go, you know, apartment building and go down 5 units and cut
Yeah.
one, but for the most part, yeah.
So that doesn't have to be directly over the fire, just as close as possible.
Those are possible.
Roof conditions and use manpower.
Yep.
All right. When the DC is delayed and you're the first on-scene senior officer on location, do you prefer to take mobile command or stationary type of command?
I'm gonna take, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assume mobile command and get my 360. And what I'll usually do then is I'll usually lay out my company's arriving. You know, usually first in engine, say we're 18s is first in engine and truck, we have their job. And usually I'll go up, I'm gonna do, you know, vertical ventilation, we'll go up top, right? I don't plan, you know, water supply or anything else. If I know the chief's delayed, I'll probably have my next in engine lay and pull a backup line. And I'll give a couple more commands, but other than that, I'll keep mobile command and I pretty much stay on task. And
So you still go up and ventilate?
I still go up and ventilate, but it will be a mobile command, and you know, just letting the engine know that, hey, look, chief's gonna be out a little bit. Usually, what we try to do is when I do the 360, we try to head around back, and then when we come back up front, I mean, the other officers, the captain, we try to talk to each other. Hey, we're going up. He's all right, we're going in the front door and side door, we're going in the window, whatever. We try to make that little communication
Face to face.
face to face before we kind of take off, because we're kind of, you know, doing our own thing. But then again, we try to meet up. Me and Captain Dunn kind of started that when he was over at 18s for a little bit, and it worked real well. So I try to implement that now. Maybe anybody.
Do you have any other uses for the tower other than the water supply, water application on the structure?
Water application, you know, you rescue stuff, but the, you know, you know, you're reading books as about using it as a standpipe. Do you ever use a ladder or a tower for a standpipe? You know, and all the books tell you not to do it because you tie up that piece of equipment and all. Well, in Houston, we're not limited by apparatus. We've got apparatus. You just call for it, they're coming. So, you know, you can use it as a standpipe. We're doing a ship drill, in fact, today and the day after tomorrow. And part of one of the deals is the first ladder there is using a standpipe getting up on the ship. Fireboat pumps into the pumper, pumps into the truck, and pumps up to, you know, uses a standpipe on the deck to, so it's got more purposes, you know, any of your rescues below grade, we've used the tower as a, you know, high point anchor over a hole. The guy fell 30 foot in the sewer lift station, used it before.
So high point anchor you attached onto the ring on the bottom?
Nah, it's got a big main beam that goes across the two. You can strap your two main beams that hold the bucket on. Yeah, they got the little rings on the bottom, but they're only rated at 250, and we don't use those.
Okay.
Use a more substantial tile on it. Or, you know, just you know, tires the best piece of equipment in the city. I'm gonna say that right now. All these other jealous captains like Captain Turner, you know, Captain Turner's really bad about that, so I hope he sees this video, but he's really jealous. Captain Havlis too, let's just throw that one out there.
Collateral damage when they come.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, today's modern firefighting gear, we are so well encapsulated, it's difficult to be aware of sudden changes in temperature. What other sensory keys should we be looking for to determine when flashover is near?
All right, well, just looking at what you're going into first off, you know, if you're going into that thick, turbulent black smoke we was talking about, it's, you know,
That's
but
my
if
first
we
day.
get in there,
My first day, I have no idea what I'm looking for.
you have no idea what you get in. When you get in there, you know, you're excited. First off, slow down and calm down, right? In years past, back when we first got in, it was always the first one to the door, get the line. Now I think we're pretty much lined out. If you're given an assignment as attack, you're going to be the attack group, right? Nobody's going to beat you in there and put your fire out, right? So slow down a little bit and get a better look at it. Two, from there, staying low, but say I get in there and I get down that hallway. What do I feel? I start feeling it get hot like in an oven, right? used to it always your ears, your hands, you'd feel it, but you know, usually your head, pretty protected. But if you start feeling heat on your shoulders, or just feeling that your whole head getting hot, you better stop and change something. Whether you cool the atmosphere with hose, whether you bust the window out, get some ventilation. But you know, now it's even with flow pass, they don't want you breaking windows as you go through. In the past, open that nozzle up, spread window height level, and hot windows, cold water, it's going to break. So if you feel that heat, you know, it's kind of like that oven heat, I call it. If you start feeling that hot all the way around you, you better change something pretty quick, whether it's cooling the atmosphere, calling for ventilation, or backing up until you get to ventilation. But just that heat, you know, like I was talking about when your air gets hot, right? Well, that's because your regulator heats up, right? Your regulator gets hot, you're in high temps, you better be thinking about plan B and changing something that's happening to you right now, because it's not, if it starts feeling that hot. And first off, let me back all this up. I tell you, I get down. If I'm standing up and I'm feeling heat, get down where we should be in the first place.
Yeah.
That's common sense, but everybody does it every day. Walking through this thing, get down low. It'll make you a good officer. I'll tell you, if I out of anything I push, getting down low, because we just don't do it. Nobody, you won't believe how many people I've crawled by, and it's just not just, it's just, we just don't do it. And we know we know good air is down there, but we stand and walk over. Anyway, so if you are feeling the heat, get down, right? If you're feeling the heat when you're down, you better change something really fast, because it's about to get bad on you real quick. So either cooling the atmosphere or backing up, or calling for your ventilation.
So other than feeling the temperature through my reed hood and my regulator, is there anything else I can look for? I heard an officer say visually he was looking for, he called them fingers of fire in the smoke, or the snakes. Another officer said something like he noticed the carpet was melting. He noticed the carpet was sticky.
Sticky on his hands?
Yeah, but that was after the near miss report that in hindsight he wished he would have registered that sooner, you know.
Right, it makes sense. You know, so many of them, when it is that hot, you can't see crap. So sticky carpet, I mean, you know what, that makes sense. I mean, some people's houses you go into sticky anyway, but yeah, but it makes sense. And I guess that's just, you know, things I've always wanted, just that kind of like oven feeling heat. You know, it's just hot all around you. Other than, you know, used to your hands would burn, your ears would burn, or you know, you get your neck a little bit. But now we got good gear, and I want the best gear out there, because you know, our gear is to protect us from that flashover, from that bad event, not just to help us get into something nasty, but to help us protect us when we do get into, when it goes south on us.
Nothing's more dangerous than going above a fire. So in a multi-story building, what method do you employ in assessing risk when necessary to go above the fire? So let's say a 2-story townhome.
Okay.
Fire's on the first floor, reported victims upstairs.
Okay.
What process do you go to in your head to say, you know, that you can say to yourself, I can do this with my crew, we can get up there and search? Or what keys do you look for to say, no, we cannot do it? You know, situations, conditions are unobtainable.
Okay.
It's a kind of somewhat of a no-go, you know. Conditions too hazard. We cannot risk. You know, the risk versus benefit is not high enough for us here.
Well, I'm looking at my structure for sure, and then how am I going to get up there, right? Am I taking a stair from the first floor up? You know, and if so, if I'm going that way, other than busting a window and bailing off on the second floor, going to do it. Just looking at my conditions when I get there. If I'm fighting heavy heat all the way up the stairwell, you know, we're not going in with a line. I mean, am I going to get up there and get trapped in a flashover? Is this thing going to blow off on me? It's just kind of my conditions as I'm going, I guess. If we throw a ladder to the exterior of the building, I'm going to do a den-inner search, if you will, or just throwing a ladder to get up to the second floor for access to do a search on the whole second floor. You know, when I break that window, what's my conditions like? You know, and that one is just, it's easy to, you know, say, oh, this is what I'm looking for and all, but until you've made a couple of them, it's hard to make that call. Because you're saying, oh, you know, I don't want to be the sissy. But
So this is kind of the point of the videos is, you know, I don't know what you know, but if you could share that knowledge.
Okay,
you know
I'm looking at my smoke, right? I'm looking at where the fire's at. Granted, I mean, I might not be able to get directly over the fire right now. I'm going to have to come to this from the side of the building. I'm probably going to look and make that call when I get there. But if I got one that's not as much smoke over here, possibility of survival, look at my layout. Is that bedrooms up there, or where am I going? Most times second floor is going to be bedrooms. So it might even be the call, let's go do a vendor search on this one, come down that ladder, go to the next one to do a vendor search. If I'm thinking this is a touch and go, right? And we work around the outside of the building. There's a, I mean,
There's no like 1-2 list.
Right,
It's
there's-
like, hey, check this, and then
right. I'm looking at my smoke, looking at my conditions, you know, and then,
so smoke. Reading smoke seems to be a common factor in the majority of all the scenarios we talked about.
absolutely.
So if I'm if I'm lacking in that skill, how do I make up for it? You know,
Well-
what do I? Is there a class I can take, or
Yeah,
you know, they
there's-
ask you 100 questions? I mean,
Absolutely, there's classes. I'm big on videos. I mean, what are all the Bravest Online? All of them playing those videos, and some of them got some great video footage of fires. And you look at it, and me personally, we'll do it. We'll put them on the station, TV every once in a while. All right, I'll give somebody else. All right, this is your fire. All right, what's your call? What you gonna do? You gonna take an 1.75 inch? You go on the roof, and I'll let each person play it out. All right, you're on the truck. What are you doing? And learning to look by watching others, right? Because other than doing it, video is going to be the second best training, other than actually making a fire. So we'll do that at times, but definitely classes. Learn how to read the smoke, but classes only get you so far.
yeah.
And then, like I said, then video, then actually doing it. Yeah, I can't say enough. It's just the fire. You know, we got cameras on a lot of fires nowadays across the country. You can learn a lot from just looking at them and watching the videos.
All right, this is almost the last question. I attended a class with a topic of mentally rehearsing an emergency scenario was highly recommended. Then on January 15th, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549, an Airbus A320 was piloted by Captain Sully. He landed a U.S. Airways Airbus with 155 people on board on the Hudson River. He was asked if he'd ever done this before by a reporter. His answer was yes, over 100 times. The reporter was amazed that he'd done this 100 times and asked him where at. His reply was, in my head. It was this rehearsing that allowed him to stay calm and land the plane before he went home alive, because he rehearsed it in his head, you know, millions of times every
Right.
time he took off from that area. Now, do you as a senior captain ever mentally rehearse scenarios in your head? And if so, does it pay off?
Absolutely. From the radio report from the street, right? From just, you know, how many times you've done that radio report in your head? You know, hey, look, Tower 18 on location, got fire coming from this. You know, you do the same thing with our radio report that I do. All right, if we're going on the roof. And as we drive through the territory, a lot of times I'll stop. All right, okay, well, this house, this one we're going to burn, right? And this one's burning, right? And all right, how are we going to get up on it? And we just kind of mentally rehearse them in my head as we're driving through. A lot of times we'll stop, get out, look at it, walk down somebody's driveway, look, okay, where we're going to throw the ladders, where we're going to do this, if it's ventilation, right? And then same thing on anything else when we go do some houses, even on the EMS runs. I tell the guys, you know, kind of talk about it as we're going, did y'all look at that house? How was it laid out? What was it, if we're going, we're first in, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I try to run it in my head over and over, you know, just so I just have more of a, you know.
So was there a scenario you ran in your head that paid out later? Like, it actually happened?
You know, we've done the vendor search a bunch. You know, we practiced it even on some vacancies we had. Haven't really got to use it too much. Well, just here recently we had one, and it was a good one. It was a vendor search, and it played out pretty well. Lit off on us right as we come out. It was hot. We got in one quick room, and the lady said, "He's in that room right there." Anyway, got in there, got the guy. I mean, didn't get the guy, but got in there, got a look for him. He was gone already. But you know, that playing it out in my head over and over, I knew that this. You know, when I got up to the window and told this guy, "You're standing at the window," it just helped me. You know,
Move through it.
move through it, yeah, absolutely, and just have a game plan, I guess. But I do that all the time. Just, okay, if we make this one, make that one, or I look on the videos. Okay, like the big fire we had with all the the fuel burning the other day with
411.
411 we had. You know, all right, looking at apparatus position placement. That's another one. That's another big pet peeve of mine. If it starts off bad with apparatus placement, the whole scene seems to go downhill.
Yeah, it does.
So that's another pet peeve of mine is apparatus placement. Every fire we come out, I'm looking at where everybody's at and seeing, okay, this pumper should have pulled up, this truck should have been here, this ambulance should have been there, and I play it out, because if that's bad, you don't ever give it a chance you don't get a second chance, especially on the little ones. You know, you pull up, might you park here, and usually you find out it's adrenaline guys getting excited. They want to help out.
Yeah.
I want that ambulance guy there to help stretch those or whatever he's going to help do, but he's got to make sure that he don't block somebody in or park on a corner where the truck can't make it, and you know, just little stuff like that.
What keeps you motivated?
You know, man, I love the job. I mean, we got a great crew, good guys, like making fires. Like, I mean, I don't want to buy stuff to burn. You know, if it's burning.
I'll be on your watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And then just keeps us motivated. Just, you know, training, and you know, I'm lucky because I got several guys that, hey man, I've seen this the other day. Let's try it. You know, and one other day was making PVC, the little
Chainsaw.
cross out of the little PVC. Got a 4-way, just PVC with a 4-way T in it, right? 1.5 PVC, and putting a leg on each end and then caps on each end, right? And you go out to the apparatus floor and you put them in a straight line, put them down, you put 3, 3, and 3, or 4, 4, and 4. Anyway, put them all out. And all right, you got to go from one piece of PVC to the next, connect them all up till you get to the end, have a little cross. Let everybody look at it, go out there, harder than you think.
Oh, this is geared up.
Geared all up,
Okay.
yeah, blacked out, go from piece to piece to piece to piece, and just do it. It's real basic, but it starts to make you think. You're listening to cars outside. We'll turn the radio on, where it's playing, so you can hear the radio, you can see where it's coming from, and it helps you get your bearings. All right, you're thinking about, and after they get about halfway through it, you say, all right, now, how many pieces of PVC you come to? That's kind of like how many doors you pass.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a little simple drill we did, and anyway, all the guys were like, man, that's a little harder than I thought, but it was it made me use more of my senses that we don't usually use, and you know, just little stuff like that makes it.
That didn't pay off in a staying orientated in your
Oh,
search.
absolutely, yeah. Or just, you know, if things do go down south, and all right, now all of a sudden now I'm using my ears. Okay, I can hear the fan over here. I can hear the trucks out the street over here. I can hear, you know, something behind me over here that kind of gives me some bearings. You know, just every little cheating thing you can in this job.
Give you an edge.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all I got, sir. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. Well, I thank you for giving me your time and allowing me to ask you 100 questions and share with the guys out there. Hope y'all learned something. Keep training.